What's up, and welcome back to Interpreting the Stars, where today we're continuing, actually finalizing, our Phantasm movie marathon with the last film in the series. It's 2016's Phantasm Ravager, which came out 18 years after the previous film, Oblivion, and I gotta say, man, Reggie looks terrific for playing the role for 37 years and mostly looking the same, while everybody around him does not age very well at all. Phantasm Ravager is a film I was very interested in seeing based on the direction the film series had taken up to this point. It's gone from horror mystery to downright action film, and throughout the years they've slowly given the audience some answers as to what in the world was going on. I also was a little bit worried because other critics really were disappointed in it and couldn't contain their disappointment either, so we'll see if it's as much of a catastrophe as others say it is. Let's get cracking. This review is brought to you by the word of the day, catastrophe, a momentous tragic event ranging from extreme misfortune to utter overthrow or ruin. Phantasm Ravager brings our friends Mike and Reg back to the movies to battle the Tall Man one final time, but that proves to be incredibly difficult when Reggie suddenly wakes up in a hospital where Mike tells him that he's been diagnosed with dementia, and quite possibly everything we've experienced in the series thus far has been a figment of Reggie's imagination. I think the foundation for the story is fine. I've always liked a good, you've been crazy the whole time concept, if it's done right. It might be a little cliched at this point, but people like to make these types of films and TV show episodes because it is somewhat interesting, especially for a film franchise such as Phantasm, where it constantly wants to make the audience scratch their head and ask what in the world is happening right now. So the foundation here is fine, it's great even, but where they take the film from there on out, however, is an incoherent mess. It's partially the writing's fault, it's partially the editor's, but this movie goes all over the place without much explanation. Reggie keeps falling asleep or slipping into other dimensions for some reason, and that reason's not explained. And in all of these dimensions, something else is going on, and none of it really amounts to anything. I mean, sure, in each of these dimensions, I guess you could make the argument that somebody has some kind of plan to attack the Tall Man or his undead slaves, but at the same time, no one really has any plan either. They're just kind of going with the flow, trying to survive in whatever way they can. And because it's so absolutely incoherent and random, you don't really care about any of the newly introduced characters or what they're going through, because a majority of them are flat and uninteresting. After a while, all the switching around of realities that Reggie visits, I stopped caring. And the more they did it, the more they dug themselves into a hole, because it just gets more and more confusing for no real reason. Or payoff, really. I think a big part of it is because the film itself went through several rewrites, and because they liked the ideas set forth in a lot of the scripts, they just kept those ideas and threw them all inside this script for one big salad of a film. All that really did was create a jarbled mess that makes no sense. I hate when movies do this. I actually hold the belief that Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull did the same thing. But even that movie was pieced together a whole lot better than this one. And the graphics in the movie? Horrible! Previous films benefited off of practical effects and makeup and things like that, but this movie wanted to go the green screen route with PlayStation 2 graphics a majority of the runtime, and that just looks so bad. The acting, that was also pretty terrible, though it's never really been fantastic. The biggest positive that I can say about this film is that I really appreciate the casting done. Over the years, it's been the same people playing the same roles other than Mike in the second film. That's super impressive, honestly, especially when they're not the greatest actors in the world. They're cheeseball factory material at best, but because you grew up watching the series, you really like them as people and would be super disappointed to see that they weren't there at all. Same with the Tall Man, who is pretty dang old at this point, and it really shows. You still appreciate the fact that he's there, and that's something that I can't praise enough. Let's go ahead and look at our final score. From a technical perspective, this film fails pretty significantly in the writing department, specifically because it was just so incoherent and confusing, which in turn affected the way it was edited together. I also mentioned the PlayStation graphics and bad acting, all of which really hurt it. But at the same time, I did like the concept. I liked the idea at the heart of the film, and I really dug the casting in the film. That unbiased score is 52%. And I did enjoy parts of the film. I thought it was significantly flawed, and I was disappointed in the film as a whole, but I did enjoy some things. So my bias score is 56%, averaging out these two scores to 54%, 54 out of 100 possible stars, meaning that the film has gotten an F. Pretty soon I'll release a ranking video covering each movie from worst to best, so don't miss out on that. Hit the subscribe button and bell to be notified when I release that. And in the meantime, make sure that you tell me your thoughts on Phantasm Ravager in the comments down below. And until next time, peace out!